Well, good afternoon. How are you all doing? It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Scott Griggs. I'm running to be mayor of the city of Dallas. I'm a lifelong Dallasite who's had the privilege and honor of serving on the Dallas City Council for the last 8 years. And that's given me an opportunity to work with so many of you. And I've realized that working together, there's not a problem we can't solve, a challenge we can't meet, or an opportunity we can't seize. I have more faith than ever in you, the people of the city of Dallas, and that's why I'm running to be mayor. And a little bit about me. I grew up in far north Dallas, went off to Texas A&M, and then UT, came back, brought my girlfriend, who became my fiance and later my wife, lived in Uptown, she lived in East Dallas, and 17 years ago we settled in Oak Cliff, where now we live with 3 children. And why I'm running to be mayor is because it's time for a change. For far too long in the city of Dallas, we've had mayors that have solely focused on the postcard, the big bridges, the convention center hotel, the deck parks. What they've ignored is that Dallas is a place where people live. Now I'm running to be mayor to focus on that. Dallas, a place where people live. Dallas, a city that we all love. And Dallas, a city that works for us. And I recognize that our shared values are going to get there. What we believe in, transparency and accountability in our government, strong, safe neighborhoods, and a renewed focus on what matters. Taking care of our streets, our parks, and our rec centers. High wages for our employees, particularly for our police officers and firefighters. And I know that we can do these things together because we've done so much. On the council, I built the coalition that killed the Trinity Toll Road. We've tackled other things such as wages, raising from sanitation workers to temporary workers to left field employees from $7 to over $11 an hour. We can get these things done by working together, and it's time for a new kind of mayor. My name is Scott Griggs. Thank you.
My name is Al.
The big issues in the city of Dallas are public safety, transportation, housing, and economic development. On public safety, we have far too many police officers. With the pension system, I served on the pension board, and we were able to save the pension system and keep the city from falling into bankruptcy. Before the pension crisis, we had 3,600 police officers. Following the pension crisis, we have 2,900 police officers today. What does that mean? That means a priority 1 call, lights and sirens. Maybe the most important call you'll ever make to the city of Dallas in 911 is not being timely answered. 50% of the time, there's not an officer available to timely answer that call. A priority 2 call, which may involve a robbery or domestic violence, a very urgent call. 2/3 of the time, there's not an officer available to answer that call. And we don't have enough officers to engage in the community policing that we all want to see. So I want to increase the police force by increasing pay, improving benefits, bringing the police academy that's long overdue, and finally shoring up the pension system. It's so important that we raise police pay. This last session on council, when we increased the budget, I led a coalition that raised police pay from $48,000 for starting officers to $60,000. We went from the lowest paid police force in North Texas to the average. It's time for us to do better and have the highest paid police officers. On transportation, we have 2 big issues, DART and our streets. On DART, as the city of Dallas, we put in more than $280 million a year into DART. Unbelievable amount of money. And we're not getting the kind of bus service we deserve. We see DART running the longest light rail system in America. Not interested in bus service. People having to wait 2, 3, 4 hours to use DART, to get to a job, to get to a grocery store, to get to the pharmacy. That's not right. We need to change that. And on streets, our streets are constantly being repaired, aren't they? Then after the city finishes fixing them, the potholes come back in a week. Or the city comes in and tears it up and puts in a water line. We need to redo the way we do our streets and redo procurement in that area. We're going to change it from low bid to best value and change that. By tackling these issues, we can move the city of Dallas forward with just some simple policy changes. Thank you. I will continue to grow tourism and hospitality in the city of Dallas. I know how important it is. In these industries, in high school, I actually worked for McDonald's. It's still there. The McDonald's is off Preston and Campbell. And before I was on council, I owned part of a restaurant in the Bishop Arts District. And then I divested my interest once getting on the council. So I know how important these industries are. And being on the council, I recognize what's so important to restaurants and hospitality industry in the city of Dallas. Help them with their zoning, help them with their permits, help them get open and stay open. And that's what I've done a great job on. look at the growth in the Bishop Arts District, down Davis and on Jefferson over the last 8 years. The number of restaurants has grown tremendously. That's because I've been there to help them with getting the permits when it slows down. That's because I've been there to help them with the zoning to make sure that's there. I've been there to help them with the SUP permits if they need to stay open later hours or sell alcohol. That's how we build up hospitality industry in the city of Dallas, by helping the actual businesses. And we're also going to help make things grow by using the hot tax better. It's time that we take 15% of the hot tax and give it to cultural arts. That is such a big change that can mean so much for the city. You look at how other cities are growing their tourism, and what they're doing is they're using their hot tax more effectively. 8, 10, 13% of the hot tax goes to increasing cultural tourism. And then that benefit pays so much by doing that. And that's something we can do in the city of Dallas. We've seen just a small amount of the hot tax, 2.6%, go over to cultural affairs and cultural arts. And we've seen a great growth in not only in tourism, but in culture in the city of Dallas. Think about that tool if we up that to 15% like we can. It's going to grow not only tourism, but culture. And that's how we're going to grow the whole pie and keep growing this industry so much, by doing programs like that I'm behind. So I'm going to continue to help tourism and hospitality just as I've done, on the ground with permitting, with zoning, with SUP requests, and then helping restructure things by moving the 15% of the hot tax to cultural affairs and arts. That's how we're going to grow everything. Thank you. I absolutely support using the hotel occupancy tax and taking the full 15% as allowed by the state to support cultural tourism in the city of Dallas. You look at what other cities are doing. Big cities in Texas, with Houston, Austin, other cities are taking 8, 10, and 13%. It's time that we get on board with this. And you know what else it's time? It's time to reform Visit Dallas. We just had an audit come out from the city auditor about Visit Dallas, showing incredible fraud, waste, and abuse at Visit Dallas. They weren't keeping the right metrics about how many people are coming to the city of Dallas. We found out about exorbitant salaries going on. We also found about unsecured lines of credit up to $400,000. We saw that a board of 55 people is too big. We need to reform this organization, and that's why I also voted at the city council to disband Visit Dallas. There's so much better use of what we can do with our hotel occupancy tax and the money. It's time that we reform this entire industry. And that's where I would start. Start with the 15%. And then Visit Dallas, the contract's coming up soon. It needs to be competitively bid, and I don't believe Visit Dallas is going to win, just because of the incredible fraud, waste, and abuse that was found by the city auditor. And keep in mind, this is the city auditor that audited the Dallas Police and Fire pension system, found issues there. Audited the City of Dallas Housing Department and found issues there. Audited the State Fair of Texas and found issues there. Audited NDHA and the bridge and found issues there, with them not turning in the correct data to the federal government. We were missing out on millions of dollars in aid for our homelessness. At the City of Dallas, we have to be strong with our audits. That's what uncovers fraud, waste, and abuse. And it's time for us to take action in 2 parts. 1, full 15%, let's put it in cultural affairs and the arts like other cities are doing. And number 2, we've got to deal with Visit Dallas. We cannot allow this fraud, waste, and abuse to continue. Thank you. I love you all, but I do not support Visit Dallas. I'll tell you why. 3 reasons. They're not being good financial stewards of taxpayer money. The salary there is outrageous for the top executives, based on the lack of metrics that have been turned into the city of Dallas. We see huge salaries, huge bonuses, huge travel allowances, up to $80,000 a year in travel, going to places like Paris, London, Italy, down to South America, to Bogota, over to Asia also. And we're just not seeing the metrics of what that is generating. We look at how the convention center hotel works. For example, the NRA convention comes to town. Visit Dallas offers to pay their entire rent and then gives them some money to hold events and other things outside the convention center. That's what's happening. The money is not reaching the promotion of tourism in the city of Dallas. Also, the lack of transparency with the group. I can tell you firsthand, it's very difficult to get information from Visit Dallas that should be public. I've asked for the public release of documents from Visit Dallas, and they've taken me to the AG's office. And this is one of the reasons I called for the audit. Basic numbers that should have been given to us years ago were not given. As a council member, I wanted to make it public to find out how they were doing, and I was taken to the AG's office. So then we had to get the auditor involved, and then we found out there were issues. Last point's the culture. Having a $250,000 suite at American Airlines, funding a bicycling team, we didn't even have bicycles in the city of Dallas, was not good policy. It was not a good use of taxpayer money at all. And you see that. I'm on the council. I know how Visit Dallas works. The culture needs to change. As a council member, you're offered thousands of dollars of tickets every year to go to events. On top of that, if you're a council member and you want to go to the American Airlines Center, they'll help you and do that at no cost for you. It is a culture change that has to change. This is not our city, and it is not the way it should work. The first day I walked into the Dallas Police and Fire pension system, I was offered a tablet computer in 2012 and a trip for my family to go to Australia. I said no to both and knew something was wrong. With Visit Dallas, I am offered gift after gift after gift that no one else in the public has access to, worth thousands of dollars. There needs to be a culture change. There needs to be fiduciary use of the money. That's why I do not support Visit Dallas. Thank you. Thank you. My favorite restaurant is Nova, because it's in walking distance from our house. We've got 3 young children. The oldest just turned 5, and we have a 2.5-year-old and a 1-year-old. So they have ample stroller parking. That's very important for us. And then when we go inside, what's also important is they've got 2 off-the-menu specials. Plain noodles and cheese pizza. So that keeps everyone absolutely happy, and then we're able to order food too and have a great time. It's so wonderful to be able to walk to restaurants and enjoy your neighborhood. And that goes to one of the points that can really help the restaurant industry. The restaurant industry, what helps the restaurant? Selling alcohol and reduced parking. Look at alcohol sales. That's why in Oak Cliff and in cases on the Dallas City Council, I always support restaurants selling alcohol. Having been in the restaurant industry and owning part of a restaurant, I know how important the sale of alcohol is to make the numbers work. If you can't sell alcohol in a restaurant, it's very tough to make it. And then also looking for opportunities to relax the parking requirements. So much of the Dallas City Code for restaurants requires 1 parking space for every 300 square foot of restaurant. That ends up that you're building more parking lot than restaurant. And so that doesn't make sense either. So in Oak Cliff, what we've done is we've relaxed the parking a little bit. That's allowed restaurants to come in. And then we've also allowed buildings to be reused, adaptive reuse of buildings. So you find restaurants without having to do brand new builds. And we're able to take a place like Hattie's, that was an old broom shop, and now it's a restaurant. And Nova, which went back into a Dairy Queen, then Starfish, and it's now Nova. So that really works. And what's also important is to be there for the restaurants, on the zoning issues. And that's all we've done on the City Council, relaxing Chapter 43, which is the rules on outdoor seating, making it easier for restaurants to use the outdoor seating. And the permitting, whenever that gets stuck, I'm there to help. By doing those things, we really help restaurants quite a bit. Make it easier for them to sell alcohol. Make it easier for the parking requirements, so they're not building a parking lot, they're building a restaurant. And then helping with the permitting, helping with the zoning, helping with the SUPs, getting those things done gets our restaurants open faster and makes them so much more successful. Thank you so much for your time and attention today. As I said, I'm Scott Griggs, and I'm running to be the next mayor of the city of Dallas. As a lifelong Dallasite, I love this city, and I'm ready to work for all of you. On day 1, let's raise police pay and fire pay. On day 1, I'm ready to put our comprehensive housing policy into action and address the affordable housing crisis in the city of Dallas. On day 1, I'm ready to help draft a comprehensive transportation policy that's going to fix the way we build our streets in the city of Dallas and address the inequities and unfairness of the DART transportation system. On day 1, I'm ready to address issues of economic development and bring more businesses to all parts of Dallas, and especially southern Dallas. Businesses that will pay at least $15 per hour, and businesses that will hire locally. On day 1, we can get these things done. And on day 1, we can have a new kind of mayor. I'm Scott Griggs. The election's Saturday, May 4th, and please visit griggsfordallas.com to learn more. Thank you very much.